In this edition of Simply Stated, we'll be talking about The Ghost of Christmas Past from Charles Dickens' classic A Christmas Carol. By the way, 4-H, right? I'm out here actually in a farming area today to talk about this, but in the last episode we recounted The Ghost of Christmas Present from the story of Ebenezer Scrooge and his life. And essentially it's a story of a man that seeks redemption because of a painful series of events being visited by a series of specters, ghosts. Ghost of Christmas Past, Ghost of Christmas Present, Ghost of Christmas Future. I think we've also discussed that the story in some ways was lacking because it very narcissistically focuses on a man changing his life. Charles Dickens does not get into the place of a man in society other than he's a rich man who is obsessed with money as far as anyone knows. He doesn't fully detail if he's part of the Russian mafia, although that's what most people think reading the story in modern context. There's no recounting from Christmas Past of terrorism that people are aware of overtly in the story. It's a hugely romantic Christmas story, focusing on love lost, business partnerships lost, and basically bad choices that were selfish and greedy, leading to the ultimate decision on his part that he does not want to continue further on like that, although he's already an older man, because of what the Ghost of Christmas Future shows him will happen to him in his old age. His choices are essentially socioeconomic. We don't know if society has actually changed to allow him to make those decisions. We don't know if he's actually being abused by someone else. We don't know for certain if he has membership in an organization that causes it, even though anyone looking at the story in the context of events would sincerely believe that he was probably part of an organization that would today be called the Russian Mafia, for example, or some cult group that was part of organized crime. These are all important concepts to understand because, unfortunately, one of the more unsatisfactory parts of the story is that it very does narcissistically focus on him taking redemption late in life. So it's actually, as much as it's a romantic fairy tale and a happy ending, it's also a sad story because he essentially goes on the way he's been for the majority of his life, only to change in old age. We don't see a happy ending for his past love. We don't see a happy ending for his past business partners. We only see that far later in life, he makes a change and goes to spend Christmas with some of his family and Tiny Tim, who is a cripple. We don't know if Tiny Tim was actually crippled by him, or if Tiny Tim might have even resented him, or the family might have even resented him showing up that year. We only know he pledges to make a change. And I say all this in the context of that we don't know what else might have gone on in his life. And we don't know who else might have benefited from him behaving the way he did, because obviously somebody did. We don't know if those people actually made any changes. He may have decided to make a change that year for Christmas, and it may have been for nothing. Dickens leaves us at the point of knowing only that he's decided he wants to make that change personally. We have no idea if society is actually going to support him in the future of making it. If you look at a more modern version of it, like Scrooge, for example, with Bill Murray, that story in the 80s, the movie, shows him getting back together with a former love that he had put aside due to some of his more greedy choices. It's called Scrooge. And when you think about it, I don't know. Some people might not really actually care very much for him to get back with anyone, or even go to the people that he does go to in the end. But in the modern version of the film with Bill Murray, they end up actually putting him back together with a romantic interest as opposed to family. So skip the Tiny Tim, family dinner, all that. Whatever. The point is, the Ghost of Christmas Past essentially shows him all the joy of happiness that he missed out on and people he let down. We don't really see that he actually regretted any of it. He only regrets the possibility of the future that will be inflicted on him for the way he treated other people in the past. Is it correct in the modern era to say that somebody should literally inflict that much pain on other people and then expect to have a future? I'm not sure modern society would actually give that, which actually does make it very much a fairy tale, because that is not the society that the US has put together today. And I'm not arguing against that. I'm not arguing against the fairy tale ending either. I'm only pointing out that it is very much an unrealistic fairy tale. and also a story I think that was put together to give, I think Dickens honestly put the story together to give some satisfaction and comfort to people at the holidays, and also to keep down fights and disagreements. Ultimately, that's actually the function of the tale. And this has been another edition of Simply Stated on the Ghost of Christmas Past, Charles Dickens' old story, A Christmas Carol.